When my friend passed away, I lost my spirit. My whole spirit out of my body is just gone. I can continue with life and get up and go to school and get dressed and do other things that other people do that look normal. As far as my spirit, if I believe in myself, if I really truly love myself or ever really feel that I can love someone, I don't feel that it's there. I don't feel that inside my soul is a happy soul because I don't feel I have no spirit anymore because he's not here.
It is difficult to work with a young person who, is tomorrow's victim. Today they were somebody's perpetrator, tomorrow they're somebody's victim.
People we grew up with, and we were fighting with them, and it wasn't supposed to be that way. And then my friend got killed, then Ray got killed, then this is about where we at now.
Since 1986, Portland, Oregon has seen a dramatic rise in youth violence, especially in neighborhoods in North and Northeast. This video will examine how our youth responded to this violence, the rise in black-on-black youth violence, and the effects it's had on the neighborhood. This is a lesson in empathy as we reflect on death in the hood.
We didn't know they were gangs then. We didn't know anything about gangs being cops. We were totally ignorant. But these guys came up here, they were wearing certain colors, they were behaving certain ways, they had tattoos all over their body, they were throwing up hand signs. I mean, they were doing some strange stuff, and all of a sudden we heard that crack cocaine was here. What was crack? We didn't know anything about crack. Ice was here, which is a drug, a form of crystal methamphetamine. We had absolutely no idea what was that.
We had reached a point by about '88 where we estimated that in inner Northeast there were about 500 drug houses operating.
It doesn't take much. It's like somebody pouring gasoline on a floor, and you just pray that nobody comes by and lights a match. Well, the gasoline had been poured throughout this community because of economic disparities between this community and the rest of Portland, and because of a school system that didn't work, because of discrimination and racism. That's the social gasoline that had been poured on the floor. Gang activity that came into town was merely the spark that set it off in a way that it became visible.
As Portland, Oregon positions itself as a major player in the Pacific Rim, its youth population has experienced a rise in homicides among young men between 15 and 24 years of age. In terms of race, age, and neighborhoods, Caucasian males between 15 and 24 years of age account for more than half of all homicides, and young men have learned to live with it.
Everyday life, there's nothing I can do to change it. So it's just, what's going to happen is going to happen.
The majority of all homicides occur in North and Northeast Portland among people who knew each other. The majority of the conflicts involve drugs, money, and other personal property, as well as family and intimate issues. But in communities of color, where African Americans, who comprise no more than 6.1% of the population in Multnomah County, account for 30% of homicides, victims, and perpetrators. Among Portland's African American community, where young men are among the highest risks for homicides, the emergence of organized gangs migrating to Portland from California led to drug houses, drive-bys, children attending funerals, and fear.
In school, sometimes I sit there and think about walking down the street or walking home from school and getting shot. Just being an innocent bystander and getting shot and losing my life at a young age.
In 1988, Detective Dorothy Elmore was a street cop and among the first to take notice of the influx of new players in the fast life.
It started out with the women who were involved who were on welfare. It started out with people who were had HUD housing or Section 8 housing. And only saying that is because those women who needed some kind of financial assistance and were in a situation where they needed help, not only with their young kids, but they needed help emotionally. And they needed support emotionally. They needed lots of support financially. And these guys knew it. These guys coming up from California knew that. So they targeted in on these particular women, young women with babies living in Section 8, and said, hey, I'll pay you so much money if you let me stay here. The other segment of the community was elderly people. They also needed that additional financial stability, and that's what they offered. They came in and said, hey, I pay you so much money, you allow me to stay here, can I rent a room from you? I'll pay you a couple $100 a week. They stay there. Within a week time, they're dealing dope out of their house.
When cocaine really hit, then the activity around in the neighborhood also changed. People were experiencing drug houses that got set up, and then there'd be more burglaries in the neighborhood. There were some more assaults, and there were purse snatches, robberies, that kind of thing, if people were real frantic, some addicts. And so the fear level went up for a lot of neighborhood people.
The community reacted with punitive and preventative measures.
We needed to do some immediate kinds of things. We needed to ask for some help from the police bureau and enforcement.
So we believe in a holistic approach, which is enforcement, which is education through the GREAT program, and also through intervention programs such as the Police Activities League and the Boys and Girls Club. We think that that type of approach is the right way to go if we're really going to get ahead of the gang problem, because we're never going to be able to make enough arrests. And a lot of the issues that are related to gangs and gang behavior and gang involvement are not strictly something that can be addressed through enforcement.
I am scared for my son. I'm scared for a lot of our teens in this year, and the 90s. I'm really scared for the teens.
Some local youth reacted by creating their own organizations, their own gang.
We got to the point where a couple guys jumped out of the car, we got in a fight. I beat them up, and then I just was defending myself. Then a couple of my other friends I went to school with at Whitaker had the same experience. So we all got together and just formed a gang, and we caught ourselves the Bloods. Just like, we weren't gonna let them take over our home.
Prior to the explosion and acceptance of youth violence, Portland's African American community experienced a rise in social activism led by Ronnie Herndon and Reverend John Jackson, chairs of the Black United Front. Through confrontation and organization, the Black United Front forced institutions to change their relationship with the community.
What you need to do, pull your pants up, take that rag off your head, and if necessary, put on the burger tree and get a job. That's what you need to do. Now we'll say this to you. We'll say this to you. There's a lot of people slipping and sliding around here under false colors, trying to join up with organizations on one hand, and on the other hand, slipping at poison. We watching you. We are watching you now. Don't think you're getting over. And even some folks want to show up at a march like this. We watching you. Every sleeping eye ain't shut.
This community, for years, raised issues that we felt were detrimental to the quality of life for people in the black community, and really the quality of life for all people in Portland. We talked about the fact that the school system was not working for black children, nor was it working for other low-income children. And one of the things that we said before the gang activity started, as long as you have a system in which young black children, by the time they're in the third grade, they are as much as 2 grades behind white children, and they have a much higher dropout rate, They are not taking the courses, the tough courses that you need to be competitive in today's world. They're not in the sciences. They're not in the higher forms of math. They're not in language courses. That when these children get to be 14 or 15, they're not going to stay in somebody's school and continue to have a history of failure in school and be laughed at by the time they're in 13, 14, 15 years old. They will probably drop out, and they will begin to do things to make money that most of us will probably disapprove of. They will get involved in drugs. They will get involved in other illegal activities.
The Black United Front and the rest of the organizations that were geared toward creating a better atmosphere for kids in schools and communities. And we were so focused on a certain segment of the government, of changing, having them change the environment for us. You have to do this, you have to do that. Whereas what was happening on the streets, we're dealing with a completely different element. We need to deal with the families. We need to deal with that segment of society that is our own communities, our own families, our own cousins and brothers and sisters. And we didn't do that.
The type of changes we have seen at the grassroots level should have occurred over a lifetime, but they happened in less than 10 years.
It's a choice that someone made to take their life. What we know of some of the situations, it was something real simple that it used to be years ago that you would just get in a fight over, and that was it, a fist fight. Now it's, well, the way to solve it is I'll shoot the person, or I just don't happen to like you, or you've done this, or this person did this, or you're from this side of town, or you're from that side of town, or you're with this set, you're with that set. Or people, as they're saying, putting work in, trying to build a name. How do you build a name on taking somebody else's life? And what does that say about your life? As I go to these funerals, I see all of their friends come, and I mean, they're hurt. They're hurting bad, hurting real bad, but yet will continue that same lifestyle that got their friend killed.
Well, we need to go find the person, you know, who killed my brother and all this. And they was just sitting there, you know, we was all sitting on the line crying and stuff. And then they were saying, well, ain't no point for us, you know, to go look for him because the police will take care of it. And then half of them was over there saying, well, we need to go and find out who did this, you know, and we need to go and get revenge. And then my grandma had came outside and she was telling everybody, she was like, well, it's not about that. He died because of a bullet and we over here suffering. She said, how do you know that the person that killed him, his family's not going to be over there suffering just like us.
Only responsibility that I really take, and a few others that originated from 15 Hood, is the name. You know, if it wasn't for us bringing out 15 Hood, I don't ever think it would be Woodlawn Park. So, you know, there's a lot of people dying under Woodlawn Park. You know, that makes me feel bad because that's something that I brought out, you know. That's the part I feel bad about, but there will still be gangs, though.
Life is precious. That ain't something that you could take away. That's something that God gave to you. That's something that he should take away from you. Because I think that everybody has a reason and a purpose for being here. Nobody was put here for no reason. And you should go ahead and you should live out your purpose.
The ramifications of violence that affects the entire community is affecting youth at a greater degree in these times. The thing that we're seeing is a higher number of youth involved in more violent crime. Crime in and of itself nationally, or crime reports, have actually decreased in the last few years. However, crimes are more violent. They're more violent in nature, and perpetrators and victims of crimes are getting younger. And so it has become an issue that we need to deal with in order to be supportive and save the value of our priority, which is our children and youth.
Trauma surgeon Linda Irwin encounters youth violence in an emergency room.
So we were rolling from the emergency room to the operating room with him to explore him. He looked up at me, looked right in my eyes, and he said with complete and utter honesty and shock, I didn't know this would hurt. And I was just, you know, initially at that time I was trying to focus on getting him through this injury and the surgery and all, and but he was just so stunned that this hurt that forced me to go back to that and examine that, you know, and I got to thinking, well, how could he not know this would hurt even, you know, and then, well, the obvious answer to that is, and then I thought, well, where do most people learn about guns and stuff and these injuries? And I realized that, well, it's obvious to me from my experience, this hurts like hell. Most kids are getting their information about this from TV.
She responded by creating a presentation on violence.
Firearm deaths of teenagers exceed the total from all natural causes of death combined. So if we could prevent these deaths, we would be saving thousands and thousands of lives a year.
With straight talk and graphic slides, Dr. Irwin shows youth raised on TV violence just what a bullet will do.
Everybody in this room has seen literally tens of thousands of people shot in the belly on TV. We have all seen that on TV, okay? Have any of us on TV ever seen this? No. No. And you know what? You're not gonna. You're not gonna. Because this is not sexy or glamorous or cool. What this is his exposed bowels and a big dressing over them, because his bowels were so swollen from the blast effect of this injury. Just like you sprain your ankle, it swells, your bowels can swell too. And you can't just shove them all back in there and sew real quick. It's like trying to get 10 pounds of sand in a 5-pound bag, and that's not going to happen. So what we have to do is leave the belly open, leave the bowels exposed, put this big dressing over it, wait 3 to 5 days for the swelling to go down, and then we all go back to the operating room for an operation to close up his abdomen so he can stand up and not have his gut spill out on the floor in polite company.
One day I was just sitting there and I was just thinking, like, pretty soon it ain't gonna be nobody. It's just gonna be just. I was really thinking it was gonna be all females, you know, and no brothers for the females, because they just killing each other, and it's just stupid.
Within a 2-year period, 2.5-year period, 3 of my clients died. So I've been struck with that because at the time, neither of my grandmothers had passed, and I only been to probably in my entire 27, 28 years of life, maybe 2 funerals of people that were close to me. So to experience the death of young people was just unheard of for me.
If we can get some of our youth to live to 25 years of age, opportunities and maturity will affect their choices.
I just stopped hanging around them. After my first daughter was born, I think I was like 18. I was still in the gangs and stuff, but you know, I used to have a lot of people talk to me. Robert Richardson used to come pick me up and be like, man, pull your pants up, you know. It's time for you, you know, be a man now, all that banging and all that. And I'd be like, nah, man, this is for life. You know, that's how I felt at the time. And then just all of a sudden, you know, at first I got wilder. And then one day I just woke up and just said, I'm not going to do it no more. And I just changed everything. I just stopped wearing red. And at first I wasn't wearing no colors. I just wear black or I wear white or something like that. Because really Woodlawn Park wasn't even red. Woodlawn Park was green with orange letters with the hurricane jackets. So I wouldn't wear that neither. So I don't know, somehow I just changed and, you know, got out there and started trying to find jobs and stuff like that, which is really hard because a lot of them, they want you to have so much experience and stuff like that. That's why it's so hard for them to get out, because they know if they go fill out an application for a job, what are they going to say they've been for the last 2 years? They can't say it was on the corner gang banging, you know?
But James was one that I felt that he could turn the corner. He was, and by saying that, did it not minimize his effectiveness and the role he was playing when he was playing it. He wasn't a choir boy as a member of gangs. He was in the gangs, and I knew that. But at the same time, he had an air of respect that said, if I can get it right, I'll try to get it right. But in the meantime, this is what I'm doing, but I hear you. I feel you. I have some gratitude for the efforts that you're giving. I know that this is beyond a dollar and cents. I feel that. And so we kind of started to have a special relationship. He would be in some hot spots. And a lot of times I think that it's about where we meet these kids at.
Because in my community, and I live on Northeast 26 in Killingsworth, I don't see that many gangs. I just see people occasionally selling drugs out of apartment buildings. But ain't no more red rags, sagging pants. I don't see much of that anymore.
In one way, it scares me because of the way I can be viewed by if I wear a certain thing, knowing that my personality has nothing to do with that. The way I would be judged by what I have on. Which I'm pretty sure I mean, that happens to everybody, but especially being an African-American male, having on some black pants and a t-shirt, a lot of people look at you as a gang member, you know, you're a thug or something like that. But, so that's one way that it sort of scares me, because somebody might look at me and get the wrong impression without really knowing me.
Self-Enhancement Incorporated, a prevention and intervention youth agency, successfully reduced youth violence by developing a relationship model.
How do you reduce violence in adolescence? And we recognize a couple of things. First, the thing we do in self-enhancement is build relationships with young people. And we use what we call a relationship model to build a relationship. And what the model says is that when you interact with young people, you have to be able to function in 3 different roles simultaneously. And that those young people need these roles in their lives to be successful. The roles are, one is as a parent. Secondly, we know young people need mentorship. And there's lots of mentorship programs all over America, and I think they do a great job. But the problem is, as the mentor comes in that one time a week, they help me identify what my goals might be, but you know, they're not there on an everyday basis to really try to make a difference in my life. And kids need someone to help them chase their dreams, to show them the way to chase it, to show them what's the result of chasing it. And when I do reach that success, they need to see that. You know, we have a kid in our program who said that obviously Mr. Allen and Mr. Hobson, Mr. Haskins, you guys must sell drugs on the side, because everybody with nice cars that are black, that are men, they're all drug dealers. And kids need to see that, no, there are architects and doctors and lawyers and presidents of companies who are black that are appalled by the thought that someone thinks that they sell drugs for a living. But that mentorship is important for role modeling. So you got the parent, you got the mentor, and then the third phase is what we call the instructor. I know even with my own daughter, sometimes I assume they know things because, oh, you're 16, so you know how to be courteous, you know how to be respectful, you know how to be a lot of things, when the fact is we only know things as adults because someone took the time to sit and teach us. So as I even look at just like the whole school problem that's facing inner city America, that teachers are like, kids are out of control and they don't behave and I'm not getting paid to be nobody's mama or daddy and I'm just in here to teach. No, you have to have all 3 components in order to have a successful child.
And the solution is right now is to, again, we saved a couple, not to go out and try to save the world because it's almost impossible. It's a futile kind of endeavor. But there are those that we can save to break the cycle. And we and each as individuals, what I can do, and I look at myself as what I can do as a black female in the Portland Police Bureau, as a detective. What can you do? And the only thing that I can do is to continue to do what I've been doing, and that is to go out and see if I can role model for 1 or 2 or 3 of those kids who are gang affected out there.
Performance by attention. And anytime you will give some attention to a young man, Rob, why you call me this late? Because early wasn't working. You know, man, what you doing over my house, man? I'm just coming home, man. Where you at, man? You parked out there, you mess around and get shot? I don't think so.
There are a lot of good programs out there, but what really makes a difference for young people is the example that individuals make for them. Systems as they are will never really be able to make a change. It's that one-on-one that's going to really make the change with the young people that we've worked with.
Our youth may require a healing process as they prepare for the future. We as adults should recognize and respect their grief as we hold them accountable for their behavior and encourage them to make better choices in reacting to conflict. How would it benefit us as Oregonians to gain the world as we lose the souls of our children? Thank you for watching Death in the Hood.